So, welcome back to your Gunner's Edge. I just happened to receive my either Huma or Huma air regulator for the Hatsan Flash 25 cal. So, I'm just going to give a quick overview and disassembly of the gun. I'll try to do as much as I can. There's other stuff. I don't want to make the video 2 hours long. Maybe I'll do 2 parts on the regulator, and we'll just go from there. But yep, fine quality as usual. Put one in the AT-44 QE long 22 I have, and just made such an amazing difference. This is going to be a hunting rifle, so accuracy and power are more on my list than shot count. So I'm not looking for 20 usable shots. I'll take 10 high performance, reliable, accurate shots. So, but we're going to start off. 2 stock screws are off. It lifts, the stock literally lifts right up and off. I just want to get this in focus. And I'm going to show you how to degas. There's like one video that I've seen so far on degassing. Here's your gauge. Find a good sized flathead screwdriver. You're not looking to take this out, just loosen it up. This will degas the cylinder pressure. I'm about, I don't know, 100 bar or so. Just remember, make sure it's a good tight fit, because these are famous for stripping out the screws on the Hatsan or any gun. Just slightly. I mean, okay. Just so everybody can get a good view, and I've seen a few questions on how to degas. So right there, you can see where my pressure is. You don't want to just pop that off because there's still a lot of compression back there. So there we go. So we're just going to watch that degas. I know, lots of fun. But at least you have a video now of degassing. There's a couple of steps we can do. I can either pop the scope off, take the screws for the shroud and the QE, remove the barrel shroud and remove the barrel strap. Or, and I think I've had this up hard already. I can take out the set screws and just take the tube off, because I'm going to have to put some marks in here anyways. This needs to be able to breathe, so I can either leave the tube loose on the threads, which I tried on my AT-44 and I did not like it, so all I do is put a little notch on the top side of the tube, and you just take a triangle file and just file the threads in the same location as the notch up here on the top of the gun, and that lets the pressure equalize out so the regulator works properly. And the beautiful thing is you can just put your O-ring back on, and you can have it regulated or unregulated. Unlike other regulators, I won't mention names, but you have to drill a hole in your tube, and once you do that, that regulator cannot come back out, or you have to get a new tube. So this is one advantage of that. So I'm going to see which way I'm going to tackle this. I may just take this out and pull the barrel right out, because I need to disassemble the barrel from the valve here. So I'm going to pop you back up here. Alright, so at least now you know how to degas a gun. Always still cock it, pull the trigger, make sure you are completely empty, no gas. I already checked it, it's unloaded. See, still a little gas left. So we'll crack this a little more. Like I said, this is your responsibility to be safe, so please do so. For your own protection or anyone who is around you. These are high pressure tanks, so safety first. And if you notice, I really don't do trigger videos anymore. Just too many people. I just don't feel comfortable going about trigger work with people now, so. There's plenty out there to learn from how to adjust and modify your triggers, and I'll leave that information out there for you guys to find, but I've already done a little to this trigger, and literally, I don't know, not even half a pound. I mean, it's just nice and smooth, predictable. So, all right, we're getting out there. And just remember, you don't really want to, once that air is out of there, stop doing that. Stop cocking it. It's just not good for the gun. Okay. This usually can't come out unless you take this off. I'm not worried about that at the moment. I'm just going to try not to block. Like I said, it's on the scope. It's kind of a pain in the butt to get it locked down. And if I do have to take the scope off, I will, but I'm hoping I don't. Alright. We'll try that, see what happens. The first thing I'm going to do, because I did have this apart before, all the pressure is out, so it relieves on the threads. I'm just going to try to give this a snug to tighten it up, because I need this tubing as tight as possible on here for my final end result, so it has to be on there tight now. Okay, that's nice and tight. Now before I disassemble, I'm just going to take a little piece of tape here and put it right around the tube. Once I modify this tube, this will have a notch in here in the tube and the threads, and they need to line up. So I'm just going to take a pen on the top of the gun, well, on the barrel, 2 lines on each side so I can dictate where 12 o'clock is when I remove this, and that's where I'm going to make my upward vent for the regulator. Alright. Well, this is going to all have to come apart anyways, but let's see if we can break it loose by hand. Yeah. I believe that was on really tight last time too. So I guess we'll take the tube off and we'll just try to make it easier on ourselves here. Well, it's always the one that's not in front of you. Okay. These are metric. This one is 2.5 millimeter. We'll see how well this comes apart. I know it was a little tricky the first time, but usually there we go. Usually the second time's a little easier. But we'll see how this goes. Yep. I forgot. This is a pain in the butt. Come on. There we go. And to just kind of turn it sideways. And there we go. So. And I will, oops. This would be the top of the gun. So what I'm going to do is mark these two pieces of steel. This is where they're going to end up. I'm going to scribe it. Some people don't want to leave marks on the gun. That's fine. I just oxidize it later. I mean, blue it later, but at least I have those permanent marks there. Just use a white paint pen, whatever. So now I got my mark for the top center of the gun. And the gauge is always on the bottom, so just remember that. Now this part, I think I said a few choice words last time, but we will try to be gentle and not scratch it and not drop it, so forth. Just trying to find a good fitting right. Apologize for the noise. That's it. Alright. We're just going to have to be careful of everything on this. Oh, see, it pays to have done this before. Hopefully you're in focus, trying to make sure everybody can see. I'll just try to move this up. There we go. Better? Alright, better. So now I'm taking this off the tube. Okay. Important things with these, you don't want moisture, dirt, anything in there. I'm going to just run something down the tube, some nice clean lint-free cloth. Make sure there's nothing in there. Make sure the threads are clean. Okay. This is where your hammer hits, in case, I don't know, on everyone's skill level, so I'm just explaining. Just always double check these O-rings when you go to put them back in. This is the end piece here. This is the O-ring that needs to come off. Here's the regulator. This O-ring here is going to seal instead of this. So we'll take this O-ring off. This is what I do like about this regulator, because, like I said, if you take the regulator out, all you have to do is put this O-ring back on, and it will be sealed. Ouch. This actually tape is in pretty good shape, so. Alright, so there's the O-ring. What I'd like to do, which I can't find right now, is take the O-ring and put it back in the bag that the regulator came out of. That way I keep all the parts together. This regulator is, how I received it, is set at 110 psi, or bar. So I think this is going to be a hunter, so I'm going to set it up to about 160. I'd even like to go 170. I think 160 is going to be a really good start for my preliminary test of this gun. It's going to give me over 40 foot-pounds of energy, and that's perfect for hunting. If I want to, I've already had it over 50 with 33 grains. So, but I'm going to do 160 and try that for a sweet spot. And yes, I know, I don't have my cheater glasses here. I've been looking for them for the last 10 minutes, so I'll have to excuse the jeweler glasses here. My daughter likes to take my stuff sometimes too, so we'll see if she happened to grab them. Alright, yep, so I'm set at 110. I'm just going to turn it. I want 160. What I'm going to do is go to 170, and then I'm going to turn it back to 160. That's just what they recommend. That's what I'm going to do. And you also have an O-ring at the bottom here. Make sure you put some silicone on this before you install, which I have right here. I got tons of silicone and everything else I need here. So remember, use the right lubricants for the right places. If it's metal on metal, use the chromoly there. Any kind of rubber, even pistons, I always use silicone. It's non-petroleum and won't ignite, so. Alright, so I do believe, actually I don't believe, I don't know if I have to take this off or not, so I'm just running the gauntlet here with you guys. So I think this stays on. I'm just going to check everything out before I get too far. Make sure it's all clean, no burrs. But what I need to do, now I need to file just one line right here in this top mark. And in this tube, I'm just going to put a little nick right in the top so this can equalize and a little air can get in and out of here so the valve regulator works properly. But all I have to do is put that O-ring back on here and this will be completely back to normal. It'll seal there. So while I'm here, I might as well do this in front of you. I have a tendency of shutting off the videos and just doing it, but it is by far a little easier that way. But just so you see that I'm doing it myself, and just go gentle, no big rush. I tried doing the leave the barrel loose, and it didn't work out for me, and it was just a waste of time. It just leaked, and I just didn't like it. The regulator wasn't working properly. But once I did this trick, I had no issues at all. Now you could say, Rich, why don't you just take a cutting wheel and run that right along the threads there, which I could. But the only thing I have concern with is this actual plastic little cover right now. That's kind of why I stopped. I want to see if I can just pop it out of the way. Which, actually I can't because I forgot that unscrews. But I could unscrew it, which I may have to do. Like I said, this is usually why I shut the videos off and make a part 2. Like, it's a little boring. Alright, and that's exactly what I'm going to do. Not to leave you hanging, but I mean, really, no one wants to watch this. Alright, so like I said, putting a groove here, notching my white spot. Obviously, where the white mark is, put the groove there. You can check all the instructions, they'll explain it to you. But that's how it goes there. And see, this is where I modified the air transfer hole. I enlarged it and I chamfered the hole right there. And I went in and enlarged the transfer hole in there. So I'm around 180 thousandths, and before it was only about 150. So that made probably a 15 FPS, close to FPS increase just by doing that. And then the hammer adjustment and trigger, and this thing came alive real fast. So okay, this is just part one of the regulator. I'm gonna get this stuff all done for you guys. I'm gonna set it back in the gun, and hopefully I'll do some chrony testing. I still have to adjust the hammer now that I'm using a regulator, but I'll work through that, and we'll get some test results here for you guys. All right, thanks for watching again. If I come across any issues or anything, I'll make another video of it so everyone sees and knows. But this is pretty much just this reassemble, and good to go. So I am thinking, yeah, this will go in there like that, but we'll get that all set up. All right, thanks for watching again, and everybody, good shooting, and have a good one.